Chapter 358. Well, it can't be helped. Such an incident happened yesterday after all. Yesterday, almost simultaneously, numerous messages were received from many members and knights who were outside. The reports were related to mysterious events that occurred in various parts of Tenno. The beginning was an explosion that occurred in the densely packed warehouse area located in the north gate. As the knights rushed to handle the situation, leaving their posts, prominent sites throughout Tenno were wantonly damaged. Most of them were places related to the Tain family. In particular, the statue in Finite Square, a pride of Tenno, had been defaced with curses denouncing the Tain's work, delivering quite a shock. Pruel, who had been monitoring Baron Wilhelm's situation from the main building, reported that he had hurriedly gone outside, returning a few hours later with a distraught face. The locations where the incidents occurred were quickly closed off before many could see, and the city gates that had been guarding the boundaries are also locked and bolted. The city was gripping with deep fear and confusion, but Baron Wilhelm didn't issue any official announcement even as the day passed. As a result, the atmosphere in the mansion had also become gravely subdued since yesterday. He's probably asking for more support from the Tain family now, but there was no strength left in the Tain family to help this place. Assistance was bound to fall through. Even though Kishir and his cavalry had primary jurisdiction over matters related to the Awakeners, they had feigned ignorance about all this until now. However, with this incident, it fell as if Duke Tain and Baron Wilhelm would soon realize that they couldn't endure on their own for long, and the day they could reach out for help seemed not far off. In the meantime, a few more people among those who had lost their memory and were being looked after by Priest Lusan had regained their consciousness, and Enon had dashed into Nathan Zuckerman's room to observe the hidden Pathomet every time he returned. Although Ever and the members who were searching for the place where the star of Nagran was lingering hadn't produced any significant results, Kishir didn't rush them. After all, the star of Nagran would reveal itself soon enough. Even though, if they didn't find it here, it was not urgent. Entrusting the task to the members was more about letting them gain experience than it being truly necessary. Since Kishir suggested spending the afternoon leisurely with tea and cookies, Yudhir stood up and followed him. However, as soon as they arrived at the residence, they found Baron Wilhelm's butler, who seemed to have been waiting for them, and politely bowed. "I have a message for Duke Paleta." "What's the matter?" "Today is Baron Wilhelm's 20th wedding anniversary, and a special dinner has been arranged. If distinguished guests like you would honor us with your presence, it would make the occasion even more glorious. Therefore, I have brought the Baron's invitation, hoping that you might grace us with your presence." The butler politely inclined his head, apologizing that the Baron was too busy with official duties to deliver the message in person. It was almost the first time that Baron Wilhelm had sent his butler for something as minor as a short note, rather than sending one of the servants. Kishir, reading the short note handed over by the butler, smiled and opened his mouth. "A wedding anniversary indeed, a joyous occasion. Will Prince Pruel also attend today's gathering?" "Yes, all the members of the Wilhelm family and Prince Pruel have expressed their intention to attend." "Good, then my assistant and I will also attend." "Thank you. The Baron and his wife will be most thrilled." "Thrilled," he says. He has a way with words. Somehow, the attempt to find an excuse and survey the situation was not even amusing. The butler bowed politely to the very end and then withdrew. Kishir entered the lodgings, releasing a laugh he had been holding back. "I guess they are desperate enough not to refuse even when I invited my assistant to go with me. It seems we will have to postpone today's enjoyable snack time." "It's just a meal time, so there is nothing to prepare, right?" "Nothing to prepare, you say? What nonsense is that?" Kishir responded gravely. I must show something entirely different from last time. Welcome, Duke Paleta, and come evening, in the dimly lit front gate of the mansion, the butler who had greeted them stumbled over his words for the first time. Yudhir internally sighed, watching the direction of his gaze. What are you doing? Guide us. Ah, yes, I apologize. I will guide you immediately. Please follow me. The special dinner to celebrate Baron Wilhelm's wedding anniversary was held in the hall where the feast had been conducted before. Though the number of attendees was much fewer, the decorations felt even more extravagant. It seemed unbelievable that just yesterday all manner of horrific events had taken place within Tenno. The grandeur was boundless. His Highness Duke Paleta and his assistant Sir Yudhir Ale have arrived. At the formal announcement, those already seated stood up in unison. There was the more emaciated Baron Wilhelm, his gaunt wife, and Pruel with his red hair softly half drawn up. Two girls in splendid dresses, and two men resembling Baron Wilhelm and their wives, whom they had brought along, were new faces. Though the attendees were diverse, their expressions were similar. They all failed to conceal their surprise as they looked in this direction. Yudhir, standing a step behind, glanced at Kishir, who was smiling brightly. His golden hair, matched with a blue ceremonial dress and belt, always seemed sufficient to capture souls, but today it was harder to look at him so easily. Yudhir's seat was right next to where Kishir sat. As soon as he sat down, Pruel whispered in a very low voice, It's the first time I have seen you in a formal wear, Sir Ale. I thought you were someone else. It suits you well. You flatter me. At the previous feast, all the cavalry members wore cavalry uniforms instead of formal wear. However, Yudhir was now attending dressed in the formal wear that Kishir had forcibly bought in Tenno. If Yudhir had known beforehand that Kishir's grave declaration of an entirely different appearance meant his attire, he would have said it would be better to bring Nathan Zuckerman instead. However, not knowing, he had no choice but to spend a strenuous time moving like a doll, being forcibly dressed for several hours. Kishir seemed to have been bothered all along by the fact that Yudhir had left all the gifted items untouched in their packaging. After laying out and repeatedly examining all the unpacked items, he chose a deep navy formal wear and a white cape. The garment, with elegant patterns embroidered in silver threads and generously studded with jewels, was the most extravagant clothing Yudhir had ever worn, even including his Yudhirian ale days. Adding the gloves and shoes bought at that time, Yudhir felt like a walking pile of jewels. Kishir seemed quite pleased to have matched his clothing with Yudhir's, but Yudhir was not particularly thrilled. Fortunately, in this setting, the ornate clothing did not appear overly extravagant. As he sighed again, Baron Wilhelm hurriedly collected himself and began to speak. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today, Your Highness. My wife Elise has met you before, but you will be meeting our two daughters, Megalyn and Melinda, and my two siblings for the first time. This is my second brother, Faith, and his wife, Nesabel, and my third brother, Julian, and his wife, Guyette. Did you not have one more sibling? I remember meeting another when I went shopping at a certain store. I guess he didn't make it today. Ah, you must have met Graham. I'm sorry, but he couldn't attend due to an accident yesterday that has left him feeling unwell. Is that so? That's unfortunate. Kishir opened his eyes wide and replied in a tone of regret. He wondered how likely it was that the accident Graham Wilhelm had suffered yesterday was unrelated to the events that had overturned the whole of Tenno. Though he didn't know for certain, it seemed highly unlikely. The individuals introduced by Baron Wilhelm all bowed politely. The Baron's two daughters seemed spellbound by Kishir's face, and not even a pinch on the arm from the Baron's wife and a bite on her lip could bring them back to their senses. the intentions of the Baron in bringing his precious daughters, who he had not brought to a previous banquet, to this meal was all too apparent. But given the circumstances, it was merely amusing. He must be hoping to make a good impression, so he's even recruiting his daughters. How typical. Soon the meal began. There were many elaborately decorated dishes in honor of the wedding anniversary. The fresh flowers decorating the table were fragrant, and to an observer, everyone seemed amiable. As Baron Wilhelm was questioning Kishir about his life in the annex, Ydir was conversing with Truel. Did you leave the cat in the room? Yes, I fed him before coming, but I am a little worried. He doesn't eat well when I'm not there. I heard that the first prince bought a cute cat this time. The one who interjected in their conversation was the young wife who had come with Baron Wilhelm's second sibling. I'm really curious about what the cat looks like. Truel paused briefly before describing the cat with a smiling face, a creature with yellow fur and green eyes. His lips were undoubtedly upturned, but his voice lacked warmth. Yet the interest in them did not wane at all. Following the wife, Baron Wilhelm's sibling eagerly interjected as if he had been waiting for his turn to speak.